Hey guys, we're back in the library today. I'm Megan, and today we're going to talk about the 10 most popular books of the entire last year. Not the last school year, but like all of 2023. So kind of parts of two different school years. I thought it'd be interesting too for me to tell you why these were the most popular. Most of them, I know why they were the most popular. Some of them it's because I did like a special reading program. Some of them it's because I promoted them heavily. Some of them it's because they were popular because they were made into movies. And then some, maybe we can figure out together why they were popular. So we're going to count down starting with number 10, and the 10th most popular book in our library last year was The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This is really no surprise that this is on here because it's a TV show. I think, 2 seasons are out now, maybe? I don't know for sure. I read this book myself. I almost said I don't know what this book's about, and then I just remembered that I read it. If that tells you how memorable it is. So I did read this book, I think summer before last, or last summer, whenever it was, and it was fine. It was just okay. I wanted to read it because of the love triangle I thought would be interesting, and yeah, it was fine. I've never seen the TV show though, and I definitely do not plan on watching it, but I know that's why it's on the list. The 9th most popular book of the last school year was also not really a surprise. It is One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. This is usually the most popular book of the school year. It is usually number 1 for 4 years in a row. It has been number 1. So this book has been dethroned and all the way down to number 9. I think it was checked out 19 times. So was Summer I Turned Pretty was checked out 19 times. So this one is in a series. I think originally it was supposed to be a standalone, like you can read it as a standalone, but now there are sequels. There's also a TV show adaptation, which I've not seen, but I did a whole reading vlog where I finally read this book because it was so popular, the most popular book for so many years, and it was advertised as a mystery. And we have it listed as mystery, but honestly, it was more realistic fiction with the characters just dealing with all of their problems. I felt like the mystery itself was so easy to solve, like anybody with half a brain could predict the ending. So yeah, that's number 9. Number 8 is because I promoted it a lot, and it's a sports novel called Cracking the Bell, which surprisingly, there's actually gonna be 2 sports on here, and it's because a lot of our boys, that's all they check out is sports. And so, especially the shorter sports novels. So I try to heavily promote the ones I think that they will be interested in. So this one's called Cracking the Bell by Jeff Herbach, and it's about a boy who has to decide between going to a group home or playing football. Like he has to have some sort of discipline in his life, and those are the chances, or those are the options that he has. So he decides, of course, to play football. He gets a concussion. He has to decide, should he give up his opportunity to possibly get a scholarship and or lose everything he's worked for because of his concussion. He's not supposed to play, so it kind of deals with the concussion crisis in America and what happens if you continue to play. But like I said, I know this is popular with the boys. Also, we did it for a program called Read-a-Palooza last year, but I only had 1 student read it for Read-a-Palooza, so I don't think that that's why it was so popular. We're down to number 7, and the reason why this one was so popular was also because of Read-a-Palooza. So it is The Counselors by Jessica Goodman. This is actually not a very good book. I DNF'd it. I read a plot synopsis of the ending, and it sounds like the ending, the mystery, because it is a mystery. The ending's ridiculous. It's not even interesting at all, for teenagers especially. So it was set at a summer camp though, and it was a mystery, so it sounded really fun, but it was just okay. I think I had 8 or 10 people do this one for Read-a-Palooza though. It was a pretty good sized group. It was a one-time little book club activity that we do. And so this one I just wanted to do because I thought it would be a fun mystery that a lot of our students that read mystery had never read before. And that's the only reason I think it's on this list. Number 6, what are we on? Number 5? I don't know. What number are we on? Number 6. Number 6 is also no surprise, and that is Heartstopper Volume 1. We actually just ordered Heartstopper Volume 5 because it just came out, but this has been such a popular series. I regret that it only comes in paperback on Amazon. You can only order it in paperback. Anyway, this is, of course, a Netflix series that everybody loves as well, and I think that's another reason why the books have been so popular. We also did this for Read-a-Palooza and had the biggest group. I think it was 14 students that did this for Read-a-Palooza, so I had a bunch of copies of the book, and we all shared, because obviously it's fast to read. It's a graphic novel. And this book, the group that did it for Read-a-Palooza was actually led by a student who wanted to lead the group instead of a teacher, so that was pretty cool. Number 5 is also because of Read-a-Palooza, which I'm so proud that this is on there because I loved this book so much. Well, I gave it 4 stars. It was really good. It's A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher, and this is only on here because I promoted it so heavily, and we did it for Read-a-Palooza. It was the group that I led, actually, and I had quite a few, 6 or 8 kids that read this one. And anyway, yeah, students loved it, and even if they didn't read it for Read-a-Palooza, they would come to me afterwards and be like, I didn't do Read-a-Palooza, but I remember you promoting it and talking about this book, something about baking, and I was like, oh, I know what you're talking about. Even this school year, that was last school year. This school year in the fall, they would come and be like, what's that book you talked about last year? They remembered it the next school year, and I've had to pull it back out. So I had 6 copies of this thing, and they're really checked out very highly. We are on number 4 now. Now, number 4 is the only one I do not have a physical copy of. It's because obviously it's so popular even this year that I think we have 4 copies and they're all checked out right now. And that is Heart Bones by Colleen Hoover. Colleen Hoover has been one of the biggest hits in our library. Obviously, she writes a lot of adult romance, and so we look for the ones that are just young adult. Colleen Hoover herself put out a little graphic that shows exactly which books would be young adult, which ones are like kind of on the border between young adult and adult, and then which ones are like definitely adult. So we ordered all the ones that were considered young adult, and I cannot keep them on the shelves. I think we have like 4 copies of all of those, and there's probably like, I don't know, 7 or 8 books that we have, like 4 copies of each one, and I think maybe 1 is checked in right now. But Heart Bones is definitely the most popular by far. And I wish it was in paperback or hardback, but for some reason there are no hardcovers on Amazon of this book, and so they're all falling apart because they are so well loved. But anyway, this one, we did not do it for Readapalooza. It was just like word of mouth and everybody hearing about Colleen Hoover that made this one so popular. Okay, it's time for the top 3. Sports. Who would have thought? This is a sports novel that's in the top 3, and it is Game Changer by Tommy Greenwald. This book is so easy to read. It's really more on a middle school reading level, but our students just absolutely love it because it is written in a series of either poems, like written in verse, transcripts of interviews, text messages. I think there's sometimes they'll even have like a screen, with the text messages on it. So none of it's written like a traditional book. So it's very fast to read, and it is also about football and a concussion, but it's also a mystery, which is why students love it. Because it's, a sports mystery, like that's gonna appeal to so many students because it's a kid that gets hit by, or like on the field and gets a concussion, but then they start to realize that maybe it was not an accident and that there was some foul play involved. And the first half of the book, he's actually in a coma, and it's everybody else trying to piece together what happened. And the second half, he wakes up. So I'm gonna have to read this one just because it is so popular in our library. Number 2 was a bit of a surprise to me. Number 1 was not. You'll see number 1 and why it wasn't a surprise. But number 2 is a little bit older book, but it had a little bit of a resurgence, and we did it for Readapalooza, and there was a movie. And that is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I was shocked because this is obviously a big book. It's an adult book. It's not just young adult. So the fact that this made it onto the number 2 spot of the entire school year and beat out all the young adult books is pretty impressive. But like I said, we did it for Readapalooza. We had a pretty good size group that did this one. I think maybe 8 or so kids that did it. But yeah, it was surprising how many people wanted to read it because it is adult. But I think with the movie coming out and then just me promoting it and hyping it up and showing the movie trailer, a lot of students wanted to read it. It's time, the final book, the one that dethroned One of Us is Lying for the first time in 4 years. Are you ready? It's no surprise. It's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Mystery has just taken over our library by storm. Mystery is so popular. It used to be realistic fiction was so popular, and even fantasy, but now mystery and even horror is like where it's at. Even just in the last 4 years since I've been here at the school, I see just a huge shift in student interest. But this series, wow, what a series that this is. Of course, this is a trilogy, and there's also a little prequel novella as well. And I read them a couple years ago when they first came out, and the first one, this one I loved. I gave it 4 stars. Second one I gave like 3.5 because it was fine. The last book I gave it 5 stars. It was crazy. It was so good. I absolutely loved it. I've got to reread it actually again. But this is such a good mystery, and it is so popular. Word of mouth gets this one mostly checked out. We are thinking about doing it for Readapalooza this year, although it's already been read by everybody. So I'd rather maybe do like a new book that is kind of similar, would appeal, to the same type of audience, but is something new that they could discover and not just the same old book. So anyway, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Highly recommend. I even love the prequel. I thought it was amazing too. So anyway, great mystery series. Read this instead of One of Us is Lying because it's so much better. So those are the top 10 most checked out library books of the entire last year. Hopefully this was somewhat interesting to you. Like I said, most of these though, the reason is because of Readapalooza or promoting them more so than just like suddenly that, they're not like brand new releases or anything. So anyway, let me know down below if you've read any of these and what you thought, and does A Good Girl's Guide to Murder deserve to be in the top spot? I think it does. All right, well, I will talk to you guys again later.